I grew up in the Chicagoland area.
I'm ethnically from Iran, Persia.
I'm originally from Pakistan.
I was born in Tennessee.
I was born in Puerto Rico.
I'm originally from Port Arthur, Texas, by way of California, Chicago, and Boston.
Fundamentally, we're here for Floridians.
When we went to school, the first thing I remember was getting a form. And form had all the demographics. One of the demographics stated that after the name, what is your race? And it had only black and white. And I still remember looking into my skin and looking into the paper and say, I couldn't decide, is it black or is it white? So what color should I do? And what I did was I created a column and I said other, and I put tan underneath it.
What we are really focusing on is inclusion and respect and acknowledgement. Acknowledging that people are different, and different is not a deficit, it's just that being different.
When you embrace diversity, you embrace the fact that, okay, this person is different from me, but that doesn't mean that I can't laugh and talk, or even that that person couldn't be my best friend.
If you know the differences of other person and you are giving that respect to that person, you'll see the same respect back to you, and you'll see a whole different solution or workforce that will be more engaged, that will be more powerful in delivering what you want to deliver.
We all have our biases and prejudices, and that's fine, that's human. The question is, how can you overcome them?
So when we start from that premise, then there's a dialogue. And through that, of course, becomes understanding.
It's not right or wrong, it's just we're different.
Our educational strategy had been effective because we took the blame completely out and created the environment of learning, awareness, transformation, discovery.
And you can see a difference in our employees. They're able to use that opportunity to understand the differences between themselves and others.
You'll say, my hand is darker and it had knuckles. I'll say, no, it's whiter and it has lines. You're right, I'm right.
The more difficult thing is trying to get your hands around what it is that you don't know. And then holding yourselves accountable on a continuous improvement basis to really stretch yourself, to become more aware, to understand how everyone in this world, gets up out of bed every morning and comes at the day a little bit differently. It's making sure that the organization from a value set is constantly trying to update what it understands, and then therefore what it builds, what products and services it yields, and then how it tries to service and improve those to try and better support the needs of our communities.
If you don't understand the members that you're trying to attract, if you don't understand how their healthcare needs are different, how their cultural nuances are different, then you're not really addressing the issue around diversity.
I think if corporations want to grow, if they want to be successful, and they ignore the communities and the nature of what America is today, which is highly diverse and heterogeneous, those companies will systematically go out of business.
If you had a view of the whole pie, you'd have a different perspective.
When you think about Florida as a whole, being obviously the #1 state for the senior population, the 3rd largest state for the Jewish and Hispanic communities, the 5th largest African American market, and the 9th largest Asian market. All those changing demographics begin to change how you service the members that you're trying to cover through healthcare.
There is a different world, and we have to be prepared for that different world.
If you don't pay attention to it, you really don't communicate, you don't listen, you don't understand, and then we simply will do a very poor job in the marketplace of trying to respond and support the group that we're here to help.
I have one in particular that does not speak English, and I feel at the end of the day that she's comforted by the fact that there's somebody at Blue Cross Blue Shield of Florida that could understand her in all different levels.
Every customer you talk to, that is your customer that you're dealing with at that moment, and you need to give them the best service regardless of any differences that you feel like you might have with them?
When I was 24, I was in my internship working at the VA in Chicago. And you're holding a 23-year-old kid in your arms as their body is literally melting down from Vietnam, from Agent Orange. And over a period of a couple of weeks, they die. There was very little acceptance coming back into society that these kids had problems. You know, they were different. But I don't always know in our society if folks really want to understand and see the differences. It can be immigrants from anywhere on the globe. It can be folks that are disadvantaged. It can be folks over 80 that can't hear anymore and are simply have a difficult time participating in society and have poor self-esteem because they can no longer hear. Failing to recognize this is just a huge loss from the standpoint of society, because most of these folks have a tremendous amount still to give to the world, and you know, it's there if we want to do something about it.
It's not just about Blue Cross.
It's about us. Every one of us needs to be recognized, needs to feel included.
We really want our employees to be a citizen in the world and be able to relate to people that are different.
I think we're going to miss a lot of opportunity in our nation if we just focus on the dollar signs instead of focusing on people.
First of all, there are folks before me who didn't have the same access that I have, and still folks today who don't have the same access for a myriad of reasons.
If I hadn't allowed diversity to be a part of my life, I wouldn't have met some of the people that I've met and have the relationships that I have today.
Ultimately, they'll look at me and realize that, you know, he's not a walking stereotype, that there are more things to him than just those three facets, young, gay, and Hispanic, you know? That I am a person, that I actually have feelings and thoughts and things to say and things to share. I don't have to worry about people talking behind my back. I don't have to worry about being mistreated by somebody. I don't have to feel like I don't feel safe in my workplace. I'm very, very fortunate.
I'd ask everyone to, you know, spend time, you know, every week thinking about, you know, how do we come at this a little bit different? How do we work with our vendors? How do we understand from a product development? How do we understand from a service standpoint what the populations are, what the differences are, how we do this better? And then within the company, how do we get the most representative group of employees that then on a very systematic, disciplined way continue to provide leadership around making sure we're aware, we understand the value sets are there, and from a talent management, the folks that we're trying to ask to join the company have that common value set. I'm Bob Lufrano, and I'm Chairman, CEO, and President of Blue Cross Blue Shield of Florida.